Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Power of a Growth Mindset. On our show today, we have a special guest. Her name is Sheena, and she is the founder and CEO of Kemet Clothing and Charming Creole Consulting. On today's episode, you will be able to learn more about her story, how she hit rock bottom, but she's now striving and thriving in the two businesses that she is successfully running. And I just want to welcome Sheena Joyner to our platform. Sheena, I know you and I, we go way back to the Amex days, but I just want to say welcome to our platform. And, before we get started, I just want to do like a mental health check-in. How's everything going for you? How are you showing up to this session today?
Mentally, it's tough. I'm rough right now. I'm a little bit rough around the edges. I'm trying to kind of get through it. I've lost somebody every month since June. So it's just kind of like you try to keep going, but then it's turning around, and as soon as you get a phone call, you kind of already know that it's going to be bad news. So it's been rough. Recently, I lost a friend of mine to brain cancer. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard her story. Roz, she was very, very popular. She fought brain cancer for almost 10 years. 4 surgeries in, and that's just kind of shaking me a little bit because it's on top of, all the other things, people that have passed. But that one just, I don't know, because she fought for so long and we thought, okay, well, she's going to be fine. And she's always a person that has a smile on her face. So to see her down, I mean, she was smiling the whole time fighting cancer, but so to see her down, it's kind of like, dang, so I'm working through it, I'm trying to, keep my one foot in front of the other. But yeah, that one kind of was the pinnacle of all the other passings that I've, been through since June. So, but other than that, I mean, I'm just taking it day by day.
I just want to say thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that with us. I send you my condolences from the bottom of my heart, and I pray that I don't have the words, but I pray I'm praying for you during your time of loss.
Likewise, and I know as somebody who's lost a few folks in my life recently, just praying for you, but also make sure that you are taking care of yourself during this time, because I know it is hard, especially around the holidays. So make sure that's a priority as well.
Definitely.
Well, Sheena, we are excited to have you on the show today. I know Mike has known you for a little bit, and I've been reading up a little bit about your story, but with this month, we wanted to focus on entrepreneurs. And so we really want to kick things off to hear a little more about your journey. So if you don't mind telling us how you got started with entrepreneurship, because I know everybody's got their own journey and their own path to getting and arriving to this destination. But how did it begin with you?
I think, it's just like most people. One day you just be like, okay, I had enough. Like that was it. That was the icing on the cake. Like, and everybody has that moment at different parts in their life. Like for me being employed, I've always tried like car sales or insurance sales or something in the sales field, just because it gave me a little bit of power, but then you're still answering to somebody. Your responsibilities are not to yourself and what you want to do. And I honestly just got to a point where it was like, okay, well, either you're going to do it or you're not. Either you're going to jump or you're not. So it that day it hit me. It just literally just came out of nowhere. Like it was, and I'm not the holiest of saints, but I do believe in a higher power. So I do believe that when it's your time, it's your time. And I literally just woke up one day and said, you know what, today is the day. And like I said, I'm going to either jump or I'm not. And it was, me hitting, I think I was like 35, I'm 38, so 35. And I'm just like, okay, Sheena, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep complaining about your situation? Do you want to keep putting your life and your children's life in the world or in the hands of somebody that probably doesn't care? And I just decided that's not what I wanted to do anymore. I got tired of working for the man, and then it's like no matter what you did, it wasn't, they will still fire you, or they'll terminate you, or the job has something is going on with that. So it was taking working a 9-to-5 was taking too much control over my life, my lifestyle, and my kids' lifestyle. And that was the biggest thing for me. And like I said, one day I just woke up and I was like, all right, we're gonna do it. And I started marketing. I started, getting and I had all these ideas in my head. I actually started to put the pen to the paper and writing them down and producing. And that is how easy it started for me. Now the build up there was nowhere near easy, but it's just like one day I just woke up and I was like, all right, Sheena. And the ironic part about it is I launched my company And then I lost my actual job. Like it was probably like in a time span of like 5 days. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm budgeting. I was like, okay, I make this amount of money. I can put this towards my business and I can still pay my bills and maintain the lifestyle that I'm living for the most part until my business, gets to running. And as soon as I launched on January 20th, I lost my job. I think it was like 4 or 5 days later. Yep, out of nowhere. Mind you, I was with this company for like 3 years. And it was just, oh, yeah. And then the pandemic happened. So that's another story. But just in general, I just got tired. It's kind of one of those things that you just wake up and be like, okay, that's it. That's enough. And I prayed to have that moment, and I did.
That's amazing. I don't want to move past this date because 120 is something I believe that is a very special day for you. But as you moved through that transition of, all right, you know what, I'm done, I'm ready to start working for myself, and then you talked about how you left that job. Can you talk to us a little bit in terms of the mentality and kind of the steps that you took when it came to, you mentioned like you had done marketing, you started, figuring things out, but like, what were you in that span of time? What were the steps that you took?
It was a lot of mistakes, but I've been a single mom for a long time. So there's always a way to get something done. And that's kind of the way that I looked at it. I didn't have investors. I didn't have a big team of marketers to tell me the right decisions to make and all of that kind of stuff. I was on AliExpress like everybody else. I was reaching out to vendors like everybody else, just trying to find products that were good enough for me, like that I would wear, because I can't tell you to wear something that I wouldn't wear. Actually, when I first started, I hired a printing company, and some of the results that I got from that printing company wasn't what I would do. So to me, it was like, okay, well now, Sheena, you have to teach yourself how to do your own items, because depending on somebody else, they're never going to care as much as you care. So I taught myself how to do my printing. I taught myself how to do my heat pressing. I taught myself, what vendors to stay away from and where to kind of go as far as getting items in bulk. It was from a lot of mistakes, but I can't, who am I ask for help? At the end of the day, it boiled down to who are you going to ask for help when you don't have the budget to finance the help? And essentially that's what it boils down to. So it was a lot of mistakes learned on my end, a lot of choices, poor choices. Like looking back now, a lot of poor choices, but it gives me the ability to teach other people what to do and what not to do when they don't have the budget and the investors and the capital, whatever it is that they may need to start. So there was a reason I had to go through that. I just didn't see it at the time. I saw me losing money at the time.
That's real. So I guess with those road bumps that you had, right? Talk to us a little bit more about that. It sounds like you've got some things flowing now. And so as you're starting to look at you went through this process, now you're starting to get the outcome and the results, from those challenges that transpired. Can you talk a little bit more about, as you're starting to move now, what are some of those success stories that you found after reevaluating some of those pitfalls?
One of the success stories is my ability to help other people. And granted, I love all people, but I really love Black people. I really do. And I genuinely want to see other people that look like me successful, and regardless of whatever they do. So for me, the success comes in being able to help somebody through the mistakes that I made. And it's not, I'm going to charge you $2,000 to tell you this. Like it's because it's for what? Like me helping you is not going to take anything that's destined for me. So that's what I'm really big on, and that's where the success comes from. That's where, yes, I put out orders. Yes, like for example, today I launched a new collection, and actually I sold way more than I thought I was going to sell. But
come on, that's a blessing.
Like I just kind of was like, let me put the fillers out, because I was dealing with some stuff mentally and I needed to heal. So I kind of pulled back from my business for a while. But I was like, okay, let me put some fillers out and see what's going on. But for me, honestly, and Mike can tell you, it's just about me helping people by the mistakes that I've made. Because like I said, a lot of people, I guess my market is for people that are like me. So it sucks, but you still got to go to work, but you still have these dreams. So by me making those mistakes, making those pitfalls, whatever you want to call them, it gives me the ammunition to help somebody else not make those. And that's the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, hey Sheena, I appreciate you for sharing what you have so far, and understanding how 120. I want to back it up a little bit, and before I acknowledge what you just shared. But going back to 120, something that kind of inspired me as you were speaking is you said that having that mindset, like you launched your business on 120 and then like a few days later you actually lost your job. And so I wonder, because I'm sure you have been in positions before where something like that has happened before, where you have either not lost your job but you have wanted to quit, but you like, I don't know what's next. Can you talk to us a little bit more about, like, trusting that process and being able to because sometimes we have dreams, we have a whole bunch of things we would like to see come to reality, but sometimes we don't have the energy or whatever we lack to be able to execute it and actually have a plan for it.
I can't really tell you my advice, since I cried a lot. Like, I would close my office door and I'm gonna cry because I'm gonna thug it out, but I'm gonna cry first. And it's just it was like I was so confused at the time. Was that God's way, or the universe way, telling me that what I wasn't doing wasn't right? You know what I'm saying? Or was it his way of saying, okay, I want to see what you got. I want to see if this is what you really want. And because I'm just stubborn, it's like I don't have a better word for it. I was like, this has to work. What got me through that, honestly, of losing my job, and then right after launching my business, and my backup plan was to have my job finance my business. And losing my job made me realize, okay, now you don't have a choice, because you don't have nothing else to do. So every morning I got up, I pushed orders, I figured out marketing, I did what I had to do in order to produce how I wanted to. But what helped a lot was my customers, because I'm like, I can't let y'all down, because y'all looking for stuff, and I can't just say, oh, things aren't going my way right now, so I can't produce. And then the orders were still coming in, and then we got into the pandemic, and the orders were still coming in. So I'm just like, okay, let's just see where it goes. And that's kind of that's what kept pushing me, the orders. And I had days where I would sell 2,500 worth of stuff. I had days where I would sell nothing. But just me constantly working every day and putting the orders out every day lets me know somebody believes in my vision. They believe in me. And I can't not do it, because it's hard right now. And I'm 38. Life's been hard the bulk of my life. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do? And I took it as God saying, okay, well, I'm going to give you the tools to be successful. What you do with that is up to you. It's not going to be easy, but it's not a reason to run away from it. What you do with it is up to you. And I did it. Like, it just, because I didn't, like I said, me getting the orders, people, reaching out to me and saying, hey, and I would have people that hit me up on social media saying they saw somebody else somewhere in like Virginia with my clothing on. And to me, that was enough. I don't even care how many people it was. It could have been 2 people, but it was just reminding me that I was doing the right thing.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, you talk about how, like, you're able to see that, I guess, your fruits of the labor that you have put in. But I wonder, you mentioned how once upon a time you had to do a lot of things to get to where you are. And you actually helped me as I began my process of, getting into making t-shirts and, taking it serious. And I want to ask the question, from homeless to being an entrepreneur, how are you utilizing your story to, I guess, not necessarily motivate other entrepreneurs like myself, but also motivate other people about your brand? Because believe it or not, you live where you are now, which is where someone reached out to you and say, hey, I saw your brand, I saw your merchandise over here. Like, how are you using your platform and your branding to inspire other people about your story, but most importantly, persevering?
I try to stay real and authentic to who I am, and to who I am and to my core. Yes, being homeless sucks. Yes, sleeping in your car sucks. Yes, eating oodles and noodles sucks. It really does. It's like the bottom of the bottom. Right. But in order for me to tell my story, I had to accept my story. I had to take, okay, well, Sheena, this is what happened. Regardless of my pride, the decisions that I made, whatever reason got me there, this is what happened. And so I had to heal from certain things. I had to mentally become strong about certain things, because some people, and they have, which is strange to me, but whatever, people will use it against you. And I had to be okay with people doing that. And because I can't tell you how I became homeless and how I was sleeping in my car and how I was struggling with my kid if I don't accept that. You know what I'm saying? And I can't take the mental stuff that's going to come with it, the naysayers, the people talking, blah, 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 whatever, if I'm not okay with it. So in the beginning, it was hard to talk about me being homeless because you don't know me, Mike, as me being homeless. You know me working as American Express. I was still struggling, but I wasn't homeless. So I had to be okay with whatever came with my story. Somebody needs to hear it. Now, there might be 2 people that need to hear it. There might be 50 people that's negative about what happened. And I have to be okay with that. And so, like I said, the healing process, the healing journey for all the things that I've been through, that's something that you got to tackle head on. Like, you can't, I don't, trust me, I tried to go around it. I tried to pretend that I was okay. It never works that way. Like, you genuinely have to deal with it head on. And that's what I did.
I receive that. You speak a lot about healing. If you don't mind, do you mind sharing what that process was like for you? Because, you know, oftentimes we as Black folk, we talk about healing, but our form of healing is praying. And so do you mind sharing that and providing light to that particular process for you?
It's a process. I'm still going through the process. And as soon as I think I'm healed, something reminds me that I'm not. It's just like, pow, hey, don't forget about this. And it's a daily process. It's a weekly process. It's a monthly process. You really have to address what's breaking you. You have to be accountable for it, because a lot of times our pain, even as Black people, we are part of the reason we're in pain. We allow people to treat us any kind of way. We allow situations to get the best of us. Wow. And really, I'm starting to learn that you teach people how to treat you. You teach jobs how to treat you. You're teaching somebody how to treat you. And if they're not treating you the way that you feel like they should, if they keep doing it, it's because you're allowing them to do it. So is it really their fault or is it your fault? And the accountability piece has been the hardest thing for me, because it's like, I wouldn't do people like that, but that doesn't mean that people wouldn't do you like that. And so that was the hardest part. I was angry with myself for months because it was like, I knew better, I just didn't do better. But now that and like I said, this is the healing part of it, the mental space of it. It's a daily fight. I'm not even gonna tell you that I'm completely healed, because every time that I think that I am, here comes something teetering on my shoulder to remind me that you still have stuff to do. And that's the biggest part. I know people talk a lot about forgiveness. Maybe 2 years from now, I might get there. I don't hold grudges. I'm just not big on forgiving somebody for doing something that I wouldn't do. I don't lose any sleep over it. I don't dwell on it. I say my piece about it and I move on from it. Like the holding grudge and having that animosity and stuff towards what somebody did to you, it serves no purpose. Like it's still not going to matter. They don't sleep every night. You can be stressed about it. And that's just kind of, you know, what I've learned. And I've also learned, and I've had people close to me, show yourself some grace though, too, because you're not perfect. You're not, you know, everything happens, as cliche as it sounds, for a reason. So you have to show yourself that grace. Don't beat yourself up so much about what the circumstances or people around you have done. Because genuinely, what can you do about it? You can't go back to 2019 and change anything. So what are you going to do moving forward? And then stand on that and be strong enough to stand on that by yourself. If nobody else around you agrees with you, be strong enough and secure enough in yourself to stand on it by yourself. And that's where I'm at right now. You know, and I know that requires sometimes maybe losing friends that I didn't think I was going to lose, ending relationships that I didn't think would ever end, but I'm going to stand on how I felt about it. And that's what I'm going to hold on to.
As you have grown and matured over the years, have you lost, I'm sure you have, but have you lost maybe people in your life that you never thought you would have, based on like where you started and now where you are?
I did. And my theory was, once I eat, everybody's going to eat. And Mike, you know that was always my thing. I'm a get on, and then I'm going to put my team on. And then I realized that maybe I wasn't getting on like I wanted to, because I was about to bless the wrong people. And it sucks. It sucks. But I've gotten to the healing point, and excuse me, I promise you it's the only time I'm gonna cuss. Fuck them people. It is what it is. Fuck them people. Like, yeah. I can't say it any other way, because again, if they're for you, they're gonna be genuinely for you. And I look at and deal with people that I'm genuine with a lot of things that I do. And if I feel like I gotta change who I am, change how I talk, change anything about me to be around you, I'm good. If I got if I get a funny, if my big toe tickle too long and I'm
Not
around
big
you,
toe.
we
Come
never
on.
talk. We're not talking no more. Like
Not
that's
big
just why I'm
toe.
adding, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what I want. So if I get a
Right.
little bit of, you know how you get around people and you just feel a little bit uncomfortable. If
Mm.
I get that part, I'm leaving. I'm done. You ain't even got to tell me nothing. I don't want to talk about it, or I'm gonna trust that. And some people call it faith, some people call it God, some people call it juju. Whatever it is, trust it. Because the moment that you decide not to, that's when you start running into the issues.
I guess I got social anxiety because I get like that around a lot.
That's true. That's true.
I gotta
like,
do some
or,
reevaluating.
you know, those friends that you
Yeah.
think are friends, and you might start looking at, why are they doing that? You know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest heartbreak for me was thinking that everybody that I was close to me was going to be happy for my success.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I genuinely would be happy. Like, I wouldn't be upset or jealous, but everybody's not like that. And you have to learn, I swear to God, just to be okay with it. Fuck it. Like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. I received that too. You know, again, I know you're just about to say something, but you know, it's kind of like milk. You know, sometimes people come in your life with an expiration date, and it's just like once that expiration date has come, it's time to let them go. And it's not that you moving different and you are trying to be fake, but you just like, yo, I got to move different. And sometimes you just got to slowly distance yourself from people. But go ahead, Gandhi.
No, I was just gonna say, like you, Mike, I received this because I think as you continue to find success, and you know, we talk about this all the time, Mike, as you grow, not everybody's gonna grow with you. Not everybody's gonna move with you. And not everybody's gonna share the same goals and dreams that you are trying to produce for your life. And so sometimes you gotta separate yourself from those people, and you have to give yourself some grace in the process. That is like, hey, I recognize and I peep game, I see what's going on, but I got to handle what I got to handle. So I appreciate your transparency with everything that you've had going on with your process. But I want to shift gears a little bit because I hear this passion and this drive that you've been talking throughout, you know, the last few years. And so I'm interested how that passion and really how did your brand, your clothing brand come about? I'm assuming obviously a lot of the stuff that's transpired, but I'm curious, how did all this come about throughout your process over the last few years?
And also the name Kemet Clothing.
In the name, yeah.
So Kemet Clothing is what, take this loosely and take what you want to take from it. I'm gonna say that first. Okay. I don't tell people what to believe. What I wanted to do was spark a narrative between people that look like us to think outside of the box, to think of what we were told or what we were taught. So basically, Kemet was the land before it became Egypt. They had a war. The Europeans came in, and like I said, take what you want to take from this. The Europeans came in naturally because they won. They renamed the country, which was formerly Kemet, to Egypt. What they also did in the process, like any time that you go to war, is they took all of the ideas and made it their own, which is what you do when you go to war. Like, it is what it is. However, Kemet means black land. So this is, to me, like I said, this is my version of the story based off of the books and everything that I've read. Kemet means black land. This is where black queens and kings were plentiful, as far as the land, the animals, I mean, you can get really deep into it to where we talk about the months of the year, the days of the week, the horoscopes, the way we tell time. It was all developed there. So naturally, when the Europeans won the war, they renamed it Egypt, and now here we are with all the things that the Europeans created. So I believe strongly, and you can be mad if you want to, that everything comes from black people. It is what it is. That's what I believe. So because I believe that, and I put it on the level of what I put it on the level of what Black Panther is. And I say that now because sometimes I talk to like a younger generation. So I try to get them to understand what Wakanda is in that movie. It's not, to me, it's not a fictitious place. It's a place that was literally ran by Black people. We had our own way of doing things. And because we lost the war, the non-Black people, that's what I'm gonna call them, came in and took all of our ideas and took everything that we created and made it their own. So that's where Kemet comes from. So when people ask about that, it is because that was ancient Egypt. And like I said, you take what you want to take from it, but the main goal was just to start a narrative between Black people to understand that just pick up a book and read and don't believe everything that you're told.
Come on, somebody. Yes. That's come on now. All right.
That's the idea. That's the goal. Like, it's just, pick up a book and just read. Like, step outside of what you believe is true or what you're told is true. Because I hear a lot, and don't get me started, but I hear a lot about
No,
Black
get
people
started.
complaining about this,
Get
this,
started.
this, and this. Like, pick up a book. Get off of TikTok, get off of Instagram, get off of Facebook, and just go to the library and pick up a book. You'd be surprised what you find. And this is what I teach my kids. And the ironic part is, I don't teach them what religion to believe, what facets to believe when it comes to African Americans, or what color God is. I read a book and form your own opinion. Don't just take what somebody gives you, because that's all. That's you don't want to put in the work to find out.
That's what's up. And I appreciate that perspective, and I'm going to do some more research on the Kemet, the naming as well, because having not been exposed to that up until now, I knew the name of your company, but I didn't know that's where it was coming from. So I appreciate you sharing that with me and actually challenging me to be a part of that group of individuals who you're telling to go read the book. So I appreciate that. So you spoke about something within your statement that kind of stood out to me. Oftentimes we like to indoctrinate. We have this belief where we like to pass down different traditions and roots. Well, I'm not gonna say roots, but different traditions. And speak a little bit more about that, as it seems like it's connected deeply with your branding. So how is that your belief now different from, I guess, how you was raised as a young girl?
But I mean, my grandfather is a very well-known bishop in the state of North Carolina, and I went to church Tuesdays, Fridays, Sundays.
You were Pentecostal?
I don't care who. No, the church that he has is a non-denominational church, but we was at church. Okay. If we won't do nothing else, we was going to church. And I listened to him now, like, just explain stuff. And like, you explain the Bible as a kid, and it's just like, okay, cool. That's what he says do. So that's what I'm going to do. They say, if you pray, if you sacrifice, if you fast for 7 days, and all this other kind of stuff. If that's what that's what you're raised, and that's the only thing that that's all you're going to follow. Mm-hmm. And he was never, my granddad's not big on pushing you to believe something, but he believes what he believes. And if you want to listen to him and follow him, then that's what you're going to do. However, becoming an adult, if you actually read the Bible with any sort of common sense, some of the stuff doesn't add up. One is not making up two. Not saying it's wrong, not saying it's right. It just doesn't, it's not as solidified as it was when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. The same thing with the wars. I'm not big on history, because I never became big on history because it wasn't making sense to me. So you telling me all this stuff happened and like there was no Black people nowhere, or like just what we were taught, it never made sense. I did what I had to do to pass my test so I can pass my classes, but I never took a real deep dive into it because it just didn't make sense to me. But growing up, we didn't have the books and the internet and the things that we do now in order to question what we were taught. I guess that's the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. So now that is there, that's what I do. I question everything now because I'm strong enough and confident enough in my belief that if you believe what you're saying 100%, me saying anything to you shouldn't faze you because that's what you believe. And I feel like growing up sometimes, especially in Black households, it's like, it's my way or the highway. This is what I said. This is what you have to believe. Don't question anything. And again, if you're solidified in your thoughts and your beliefs, why can't I question it? So with my kids, we have a very open, like my parenting style is very open because I need them to understand it is okay to question something that doesn't make sense to you. And if they can't make it make sense to you, that's not your fault. That's educators, that's church people, whoever. If they can't make it make sense to you, or if it's contradicting anything that they say, that does not necessarily mean that you're wrong, because there's a book that's going to justify your thought process. But we didn't have that growing up. We didn't have the books. We had whatever that was given to us. And now because of, like I said, social media, for one, it's just out there now, and the people aren't afraid to speak on different things as much as they were with like us growing up.
Okay, I appreciate that. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, I was just, as a follow-up point, and it's funny because I was having this conversation with family earlier where, nowadays when we think about I guess you could say the generations that are coming up, critical thinking isn't something that is taught or given an opportunity for kids to use day in and day out. Now it's what's the first thing I see on social media? what is the first thing that I hear in class versus how do you feel about this? Why do you feel about the way you feel? And let's dive a little deeper into that. So, it's a different time. And I think it's one of those things where, we as a community, and I know it's going to take time, but it's just continuing to challenge and understand that there's one, a lot of different ways of thinking, but two, history isn't just one and one. Like there's a lot of different things, that have gone on, and just understanding, what is being presented to you and how you react. That's what I think is missing day in and day out. So, but I do want to continue the conversation on your business. So I know you created your clothing brand, and we talked a little bit about how you have helped inspire and you've given your time and resources to helping others. So I'm actually curious on how you expanded your brand a little bit. So we know that you have Charming Creole Consulting. How did that come together? And what's the day-to-day work that you're doing with that part of your business?
Actually, I had Charming Creole. I had Charming Creole listed. I want to say Charming Creole has been registered with the state of Georgia since like 2015. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just know, like, it came to me one day and I just knew that's what I want. Like, I just didn't know what it was going to be for. And I tried to make that into like my clothing brand, different things like that. And it just didn't fit. And so after I launched my brand, my clothing line, I started to get a lot of questions. And when I say a lot of questions on how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you do this? And everybody's like, you need to put an ebook together and charge people for the information. And I just felt like that's what took me so long. It took me so long to get where I needed to be at because everybody wanted some money. Can you just tell me how to put this shirt on this heat press so I can heat press this item? And it takes literally 2 seconds of your time. But sometimes I feel with success, people take and I get there is information out there that is worthy of being bought. But I also understand that there are people like me that work a 9 to 5, that had kids to feed, that can't afford $500, $600 to get some general information. So for me, that's when Charming Creole Consulting came together because of the questions were coming. And I was overwhelmed, I think more with questions than orders at that point. And I was just trying to help everybody because I didn't get the help that I think would have catapulted me a lot further in the beginning. And I didn't have the money to do it. So that started just helping people build their business. I gave myself time to create. I gave myself 4 businesses. I charged them a flat rate and said, okay, this is what I'm going to help you build. So that way you're not making the mistakes that I'm making. These are the people that I use. This is what you're going to need to have like an established business. You're going to need to file yours with the state. It's for free. Stop paying people $1,000 to file your business as an LLC and just go to the state and do it yourself. Like really giving people, again, that look like me and you, the education that they need to start their own business without charging them $2,500 for an hour conversation. And letting them know that you can file, that you can go to the IRS and get an EIN number. You don't have to pay anybody for that, that you can go down, you can go online and create your LLC in less than 5 minutes. Like instead of making it so difficult to get something established. And that was what the bottom point of my business was. And then I started doing the mentorships and I started actually having clients and consulting with them and helping them maintain their business. So again, they're not making the same mistakes that I was making.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Folks are really out here charging like $300 to $400. Like, hey, you pay me $300 to $400 and I'll start I'll file your LLC for you to the state. And I'm just like, fam, it didn't even take me 10 minutes. And you think I'm about to pay you $350? But one thing I will say, starting a business, that process is overwhelming. So I do know people out here who's willing to pay that $350 for a peace of mind, but at the same time, you need to know what's going on within your business. Like, because just because they file it for you don't mean they're doing it accurately. And you need, as a business owner, I don't care what position you are, you need to know what it looks like on each level. Because if it comes a time you have to do receipts or you get audited, it's going to come back to the CEO, but the name of the business. And so, that's just form of practice. Like, you have CEOs of companies and they can literally be getting cheated out of thousands and millions of dollars, but they don't know what's going on at the bottom because, but at the same time, I appreciate you for highlighting that because I know for me, that is something that I find very important within my business. I don't care how many people I'm gonna hire. I'm going to know what each position entails and how it's supposed to be ran and managed and what it's not going to look like. So I appreciate it.
I'm almost 3 years in January, and I'm still a one-man show. My trust is real wicked when it comes to my business. However, it's still the point where like I don't want to be the person in the room that has no idea what's going on. And it's my business and my name attached to it. I still put out all my orders. I still drive my car to UPS and put that out. I still do all my marketing. I still print all my items. I still file my paperwork every year, because the fear is you pick up a book and just read. I promise you the information is out there. Like it's there. Like you can Google how to file an LLC and it'll tell you how to do it for free. And I think as a culture, we get so tied up into who we're associated with and who helped you do this and who helped you do that. But pick up a book. You can go on Amazon and Google. I literally bought a book from Amazon that says how to build your consulting business.
We're gonna talk outside of this, because
like I read it.
We're gonna talk outside of this because we got to hire a team, because when you hire a team, you're able to bring in more profit. And
I know. I got that. We got to understand that. But the facets of your business, if you don't know them, how are you going to hire somebody and tell them what to do? And make sure that they're doing it correctly. And I saw a glimpse of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, his accountant told him that he was, he had to pay his taxes. Tyler Perry was given $9 million by the IRS because his accounting team didn't know what they were doing. So it was like, and granted, he fired everybody, but again, how can it get that deep to where nobody knows what's going on? And I always just I want a hand in what's going on. I want to be able to pick up a book myself, so nobody's charging me 15, because I live in Atlanta. They will charge you a lot and tell you nothing. And I need to know what's going on by all costs, because at the end of the day, it's my name on the brand.
Big facts. So haven't understood that you share some of this already. You have shared some of this already. Some of the mistakes that you made, but as we like to shift from mistakes, and I know you have had quite a success with running your business. You don't have to talk about the profit amount, but can you share with us some of your greatest achievements within your business or businesses?
I ain't even gonna hold you. I made $64,000 my first year, and I know that's not a lot to some people, but to me,
it's a lot more.
That was a whole lot of money.
It's a lot more than some business owners.
That's true.
And that was during the pandemic, and so I'm like, what the hell I'm gonna do? Because I couldn't get stuff, the merchandise that I needed, and all that other kind of stuff because of that. And I was just nervous, like, where are people gonna get money to afford, $100 sweatsuit? Exactly. And now I'm asking you hey, can you buy this sweatsuit for me? Because it's how I'm feeding my kids right now.
Right.
So that was the biggest thing. And really, outside of the dollar amount, the success of discovering what you're capable of doing, that'll top any dollar amount. Because I'm not in it for the money. It's just, but like me being able, my back was put against the wall. This was new. The pandemic happened. I lost my job, which reaching inside yourself and pulling something out to maintain the flow of your business is something that's just that to me was probably my biggest success. That was the biggest take back from everything. Dude, y'all still asking for my stuff? You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest accomplishment. That was the biggest success to me, for people coming to me and asking me for advice on how to run a business or what they should do with this. And I'm like, y'all trust me with that information? Because I don't trust nobody. So for y'all to trust me, that was the biggest success for me. That let me know that even though I might not have made $1 million my first year, like all the other companies did, I'm doing something correctly. And that trumps all the mistakes, the losses, because I would be happy, for example, Mike, to teach you what to do and not make the same mistakes that I make, and see you reach your peak, not losing out based off of just not knowing. Because I can tell you, okay, this is what you should do. You're not going to make those mistakes. And then boom, now you're successful. Boom, now you got your show. Now you got, the stuff that you're building. And that to me is the biggest success for me, to sit back sometimes and look at other people's businesses that I've helped and they're still going. It makes me feel like, okay, well, you're doing something right. It's not all about the money all the time. The money's going to come.
What would you say would be one of your, I'm not going to say your greatest mistakes, but a mistake that's helped you to know that you will never ever make that mistake again within your business?
Being afraid to ask questions. Being afraid to be to come off like you're just dumb. Like I got a best friend, worked at Amex together, and she started her business. She started her financing business. And I'm looking at her, now mind you, I'm still struggling, making $11 an hour. And she brought in a 6-figure year, her first year on her own. You know how embarrassed I was to ask her for help? Because I felt like we started at the same place. So now you're better. Now you're doing more than me. I couldn't even humble myself enough in the beginning to ask her for help. And overcoming that put me on where I don't give a damn who you are. I'm asking questions. I got questions. I'm gonna raise my hand at every meeting because I need to know. And that was me getting out of my own way, though.
Because if you don't know, if you don't ask a question, how would you know, right?
That's
exactly.
Fact.
And it was like I've mastered my level of, what I needed to know and the information that I could provide other people, but I can't even continue to help y'all because I don't want to ask no questions to nobody else. I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to other fields. And I know a little bit about a lot, but I don't know everything. And it was stalling my consulting business because I didn't get out of my own way. And once I did that, like once I genuinely, I ain't even gonna lie, once I stopped caring about what people thought and what they were going to say, I've been good.
But that's the hardest thing though. Like we say, like, I don't care what people say, but like in reality, what I say for me, my mentor tells me all the time, she tells me 2 things. 1, stop playing it small, stop playing it safe, and stop playing it small. Like you got receipts to prove that you know what you're doing. Your glow up is amazing.
Which is, by the way, the dopest glow up I've probably ever seen in my life.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And then 2, get out your way, get out of your own way. Cause sometimes you be having ideas, dope ideas. And literally, like, you're like, nah, people ain't gonna buy that. Nah, people ain't gonna like that. Stop, get out of people's pockets. Yeah. Get out of people's pockets, because people are out here spend, like this Friday coming up, somebody's gonna spend their light bill money, their rent, their mortgage, their car payment, and then people buy what they want and beg for what they need. And that was some of the greatest advice that I have ever learned. And me and Ganny have these conversations all the time, whether it's related to stocks, whether it's related to buying J's, whatever the case may be. It's just like, sometimes you just got to get outside of your way. And even if somebody don't support you, still support yourself and try to have faith in yourself, because it becomes a point where you just going to have to just put yourself out there and everything else is going to fall into place. But for me, I believe the creator God, he just needs for you to start. So once you start, he already has the plan for you. You just need to do your part. And, for me, I appreciate you for sharing that, because it was affirming for me, but I hope someone else on our platform receives that as well.
And you know what, Mike, I don't name drop people, but I'm related to a big guy in Atlanta, big dude, big following, huge follow. I mean, I'm telling you, millionaire. I don't name drop, so I'm not going to say his name, but he told me one of the realest things. He said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So get into another room and humble yourself to learn what you need to learn. Because I'm very educated when it comes to a whole lot of different stuff, but I'm very timid when it comes to going into a room and not knowing everything. And he said, you're in your way. And when I say he from Ellenwood, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just let that marinate. And he said I had to get out of my own way. So I knew the streets, I knew how to club, I knew how to do promotions, but I didn't know how to make no real money. And he said, and I had to humble myself and put myself in rooms with people that were making real money, to understand, okay, you can still do it. You just gotta humble yourself and learn the method of getting it done. And that's been the biggest thing for me. And like watching, like really changing what you watch, changing what you feed into, like that matters. Because I don't know, like when I listen to Eric Thomas or if I listen to David, in my mind, I can take over the world. I don't care what's going on. So for me, like listening to them, like I can get up in the morning and you would have thought I'm a millionaire by the way that I attack the day, because I just feel like listening to people that motivate you on a daily basis, listening to people that are positive on a daily basis, it really changes your outlook on life. It changes the energy that you put stuff into, because for what? And I think that's really important. That's really what made me focus on my healing and my mental health. Like, it's shorty, you ain't gonna be able to get what you want if every time something happens, you break down crying and you shut down for 3 months. So I was just like, I really, like my mom's, I had to put on my big girl panties and be like, look, it's gonna be me or it's gonna be you. And you really got to deal with that. Like, you really have to deal with your mental health, because as soon as something doesn't go your way, or if you don't make the sales that you want to make that day, you can't go in your room and cry for 3 months about it. But that's what I was doing. and I was standing in my own way.
And hold on, get it.
Yeah.
That not only within a business, but that's also within relationships too, because I not too long just got out of a relationship, and we struggle with that, and in that sense of being able, if you calling me out on something I don't like, or if I'm calling you out on something that bothers me, or it impacts the way I show up, or whatever the case may be, if you're constantly shutting down and you're not basically saying, well, let's explore where this is coming from, not necessarily it's you, it's you, or it's not me type of thing, but let's explore this together. And that mindset of not wanting to dive deeper into that, it stifles your growth opportunity. And it's just like, okay, this is the ceiling right here. Like if we can't get past this, it's hard for us to elevate to any other level, because literally it's going to impact what communication looks like, what love looks like, what being romantic looks like. And so, I 100% agree with that. Go ahead, Candy, though.
No, I'm just gonna follow what Mike said. I mean, I think, and Mike, we talk about this all the time, and we've talked about this like a couple months ago with other folks, where it is sometimes we get in our own way, but you have to find a way to maneuver and put yourself in those situations that can make you somewhat a little bit uncomfortable, because that's where you really start to see yourself grow. And so I'm actually want to follow up with one last point with this. When you do fall in those times where, you mentioned like, you're breaking through that ceiling now, you're motivated, you're inspired. But I think sometimes even in those moments, we kind of like retract a little bit. So I'm interested when you do have those moments where you're like, oh man, now I'm feeling like I am the smartest person in the room, or you know what, I don't think that I am capable of like breaking through this ceiling again. Like, what do you do to remind yourself to continue along on this journey?
That's the best way I can answer this question, Andy. I was in a relationship, Mike knows him, for the same dude for 8 years, father of my youngest daughter. And I realized that relationship was slowing me down because I didn't have the support, whether he could or couldn't, he wanted to or didn't want to, whatever the reason was, I didn't have the support that I needed to stand in my own strength, to have somebody behind me saying, okay, well, what they talking about, you got this. Like, I didn't have that. So I'm going to the left, he's going to the right. You know what I'm saying? And it was no roundabout. We wasn't meeting in the middle. It was just, I'm going to the left and he's going to the right. And this is what relationships, this is what friendships, because this is what these are the people we surround ourselves with. So if I'm going out to girls' night and all y'all talking about is little Asian doll or whatever people be talking about on TikTok and Shade Room, like, we're not talking about the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So why are you here? That's relationships and friendships. And me, I take my friendships and my relationships very seriously. Yep, so like, if I'm talking about I'm having a midlife crisis because my profit right now this month is at 0, and you worried about what little baby doing, we can't talk because we're not on the same platform right now. And you have to be okay with walking away from people that are serving no purpose for you, because and it hurts and it sucks, but you have to build that tough skin, because sometimes where you're trying to go, those people ain't meant to go with you. And you have to understand that, and you have to start putting yourself in situations, in rooms, in business meetings, in on podcasts or whatever, for where you're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, you have to relinquish some of the stuff that's not working for you. I always used to say I want to be the female Eric Thomas. And my cousin in Atlanta told me, he said, why be the female him? Just be you. Why want to be somebody else, just the female version of it? Just be who you are. Because somebody going to feel it. Really? Somebody going to love it. You're going to put yourself in a room where people understand where you're coming from. And in order to do that, you have to put yourself in a room to be around people where you came from. So again, that was the biggest thing. And like I said, cutting those relationships, cutting those ties, it was probably the hardest thing for me to do. However, it was what I needed to do. And I knew I needed to do it. I just didn't want to, but it's what I needed to do, because you have to have, if I got something that's not working, or I need to be able to pick up my phone and call somebody that's like, okay, you can cry a little bit, but I'm gonna need you to get yourself together. And this is the game plan. Help me figure out the next move. And that's the type of people that you have to be around in order to get where you want to get at.
All right, that's real. And as we always say, Mike, you are what you consume, and you are what, the 5 closest people to you. If they negatively impacting you, you need to go find a new 5 people. Exactly. So
And not
You
only
know,
that, man, like Sheena, you said that you wanted to be the female version of Eric Thomas, and it's just like, nah, because like Eric,
Exactly.
like people hold Eric Thomas to a certain expectation that sometimes we don't necessarily know, but that's something that he may internalize, and something that I've learned over the years: what's for you is going to be for you.
That
And
part.
whenever you enter a room, you as an individual, your story is going to attract a different
Exactly.
ethnicity, a different variety of different audiences, to the point where it's going to either be on a different level than what Eric Thomas is, and it may be on a greater level. And so, like,
Exactly. Yeah.
something that I've learned from myself, like, because I used to have that mentality, I want that, I want all of that right there. That's what I
Exactly.
want.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that it's just like, you can have that, but you're gonna have to create that for yourself, because you are not about to live to no one else's expectations,
Yeah.
because you know how you are. And so, like, once I've been able to do that, God has opened up so many doors that I'm just like, dang, me, little old me.
But you know what's crazy?
That's
And I
great.
say this all the time. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not the holiest person, but I pray. I'm like, God, this is what I want. This is how I want it. And I've learned to sit back and allow it to happen. Don't force it. Don't try to make it happen in my time. Don't try to make it happen when I want to happen. Just let it happen how it's supposed to happen. Like, for example, I still work a 9 to 5. But the gag is, the 9 to 5 that I work is from a lady who started her own business. She started her own clothing line. And right now she has an office of 500 people. And when I say I walked in the door and I knew 95% of what I had to do, because I do it for my business. But seeing that every day lets me know that I'm in the right place, because I see that what I want to accomplish is what she's doing. And as a reminder every day, so when you get home, go on and get your orders together, go on and get your marketing together, because she had to do it too. And she's making, Black Friday last year, she made a cool $3 million in like the first hour. So for me, that's him putting me exactly where I need to be to get where I want to be at. And sometimes you just have to just sit back and let the universe, let God, whoever it is that you look up to, let that happen for you, and be patient and know what's for you is for you, and can't nobody take it from you.
That's real. That's real. So, Sheena, I got a question for you. So, as you look at both of your businesses, where do you hope to be within the next 5 years?
My dream is to sit back and watch people that I've mentored or helped build their businesses like flourish in their success. Like I said, the money, I don't care for none of that. It's just the ideal of being, and my long-term goal is to help people, and help people that look like us. Not saying that the other people don't matter, but we matter too. And I need us to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Mike, don't laugh, I'm serious. But that's because it's not that they don't matter, it's just that we matter. And
I got
the
it.
times that we're living in, like, you have to remember that. And I think for me, just to sit back and see the 4 clients that I do have, like, reaching their goals, that to me is the dream. That's the goal.
Okay.
That's it.
Hey, I aspire. I aspire to be one day.
Likewise.
Yeah, I mean, that's real though, because being able to see the things that you have poured into other people, kind of like what I do on a daily basis, being able to see the fruits of your labor, is a beautiful thing to see. And so I can only imagine, though, like I said, because you have mentored me beginning my journey, which has helped me out a lot. And honestly, I always catch myself helping people. I'm like, nah, and I always ask for permission before I just give advice, because sometimes people are like, did I ask you? I'm like, nah, but I'm just trying to help you from making mistakes. But just being full transparent, I just want to say I appreciate you and give you your flowers while you're here, and the work that you have done. And we'll step up from arguing with people talking about their points, and you're out here changing
Mike, you got like
lives.
the dopest glow up I've ever seen. My boy is in Greece. What?
You
Like,
out here
that
changing
was
lives.
Global now,
and
man.
and that's the goal. Like, just changing lives, because we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason we didn't. We just, at the end of the day, we didn't. And I need for people to see that you can come from being homeless. You can come from being a single mom. You can come from death, because I've almost died a couple times. You can come back from all of that. And I think sometimes people just need to see that. I need to see somebody that's relatable to me, to know that I can come back from anything, because I've died twice and I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? I've been homeless and I'm still here. I've been struggling with my kids. Hell, we still struggle sometimes, but I'm still here. So that lets me know that I'm relatable to somebody that's going through the same thing. You can come back from anything. Don't let that last bad decision or poor choice that you made be the end all. For what? You
That's
still got to
true.
live. You're going to be
That's real.
I
miserable
love
for the
that.
rest of your life.
That's real. That's real. So, what are some of the last words? Well, not even last words. I don't even like that. What is the final message as we conclude this episode that you would like to leave with our audience?
So I had wrote this
Yep.
down, so I was thinking about it earlier today. Forgive yourself for the choices you made when you didn't know you had better options. Focus on growing and focus on being positive. Because again, if you don't know better, you don't know. Forgive yourself for that. Keep it moving.
That's real. That's real. Go ahead and drop the contact information. How can people get in contact with you, shop on your website and or your IG, whatever you have.
So all of my clothing website is under KemetClothingCompany.com. It's KemetClothingCompany.com. That's my IG, that's my Facebook, that's my TikTok, that's my Twitter, that's everything. You can email me at KemetClothingCompany@gmail.com. You can send me a DM. I don't care what it is. Send me a blimp, whatever you got to do to get in contact with me. Charming Creole Consulting is the same thing. CharmingCreoleConsulting.com. That's my Instagram, Facebook. CharmingCreoleConsulting@gmail.com is a way to contact me in regards to consulting services. I don't even really care if you hit me on my personal Facebook page asking for help. Just, reach out to me. I feel like that's my passion. I feel like that's my purpose. So let's go. What Denzel said, let's get to work.
Hey, and I know you said it, but can you spell it for the people that may not know how to spell Kemet?
Yep. Kemet is Kemet, then the word clothing company @gmail.com is my email. Kemet clothingcompany.com is my website. Charming Creole Consulting is CHRMING Creole CREOLE consulting.com. It's the same as my Gmail, same as my Instagram, same as my Facebook.
I appreciate that, Sheena.
Love it.
Again, thank you so much for being a part of our show today. Like we always tell our other guests, you are now family. You are a part of us, and I thoroughly enjoy being with you on this platform today. And you dropped a lot of gems where I know I was able to take some things away, but I also hope our audience they take something from this episode and be able to apply it, whether it's in their business or just in their personal lives. But at the same time, I just want to leave everybody with this. Who you surround yourself with on a daily basis matter. It's a power of a growth mindset, but most importantly, it all starts with you.